As you guys know, when I was 9 years old, I spent a year on chemotherapy and had an amputation due to cancer, which I like to think gives me sort of a leg up on understanding some of the problems in the current US healthcare system. Sorry, that was a terrible pun. Can we pretend it never happened? In the spirit of this week, I'd like to say how thankful I am to the amazing children's hospital and nurses and doctors who saved my life. But today's healthcare professionals and hospitals are working within an insanely problematic system, as you've probably been hearing a lot about recently. So in this video, I'm gonna drop some crazy facts about our healthcare system and why our medical spending is so high. For example, in the United States, the average cost of a hip replacement is $40,364. The same operation in Spain costs an average of $7,371. In other words, I could literally fly to Spain, get my hip replaced, live in Madrid for 2 years, learn Spanish, run with the bulls, get trampled by the bulls, get my hip replaced again, and fly home, all for less than the cost of a single hip replacement in the United States. That's crazy, but true. As another example, an investigation by the New York Times found that hospitals were charging patients as much as $546 for saline solution, also known as salt water, which, as you might have heard, is what the entire ocean is made out of. Granted, you probably don't want dirty ocean water pumped directly into your veins, but the average cost of a liter of purified saline solution in hospitals in Paris, France is just $4.73. $4. Plus, in many cases, doctors and hospitals receive more money if they order more tests, so sometimes the incentive structure can be problematic. In fact, a recent study found that the US wastes an average of $6.8 billion a year on unnecessary medical tests. That's enough money to buy a space shuttle for you and 3 of your friends. Or maybe 1 TARDIS, but I'm not really sure what they're going for on eBay these days. But in fairness to doctors, and I'm talking about MDs here, not the doctor, one reason that they order so many unnecessary tests is because we live in a lawsuit-obsessed society, and so doctors need to cover all of the bases to protect themselves from malpractice suits. In fact, a PricewaterhouseCoopers study found that 10% of all medical spending in the United States is a direct result of malpractice suits. Mostly again in the form of unnecessary tests like excessive orders for MRIs, CAT scans, etc. And finally, the free market is based on the consumer's ability to compare and shop prices, but we don't have that ability when it comes to our medical care. And that's a problem because investigations by the New York Times and others have found that prices for the same procedure in the same city in the United States can cost 2, 3, sometimes as much as 15 times as much for the same procedure in the same city, depending on which doctor or hospital you go to. But see, there's no public source of information to help you make that decision, and so typically you're referred to one doctor or one hospital for your procedure. And if you think about it, that's kind of crazy. That would be like if you went on Netflix and you searched for Samuel L. Jackson movies, but Netflix in its search results didn't show you any of the movies where Samuel L. Jackson plays a bad mother. By the way, you probably assumed I just swore. Let's rewind and listen to what I actually said. Plays a bad asthma mother sufferer. But seriously, if Netflix didn't tell you about any of the movies where Samuel L. Jackson plays the badass, that would eliminate all of his movies, except for this one movie he did in 2009 called Mother and Child. But as crazy as that is, that's exactly how our healthcare system works. In the same way that websites like Priceline and Kayak allow you to compare prices for airline tickets and hotels, there should be a public website that allows you to compare prices for the same medical procedure in your area. Okay, so what can you do about these problems? Well, you've already done the most important thing by watching this video, which is to become a better informed citizen. You can become even more informed by subscribing to ourtime.org, an organization that gets young people connected with political issues that directly affect their lives. Link to their channel in the underbar. And most importantly, you can vote. If you're not old enough to vote yet, just use a fake ID. Just kidding, McLovin, I don't encourage voter fraud. But seriously, wouldn't it be a great day in America if young people were trying to get fake IDs not because they wanted to get wasted, but because they were so desperate to participate in democracy? In other words, if underage drinking was less common and less of a problem than underage voting. Please subscribe for a new video from me every Tuesday.